Hello and welcome. Join me for a 20-minute practice. And first, we want to get connected to the breath and to the body so we can maximize the exercises that we do together. So I've got one of these underneath my seat. Just grab a block and have a seat, put it under your hips. Bring the back of your head over the back of your hips so that your chest lifts slightly. And close your eyes and take 3 deep breaths in and out of the nose. Two more breaths, breathing in, slow, smooth, imagining the breath going up the spine to the crown of the head, and then traveling down the spine on the exhale to the bottom of the spine. Good, one more breath just like this, inhale. And then a nice long smooth exhale. Now at the bottom of the exhale, we want to squeeze the belly in and force some of that stale air out. Really pull it in and then allow the inhale to come back. Here we go, we're gonna breathe like this now. So breathing in. And then exhaling through the lips like you're sipping through a straw. Exhale. Squeeze at the bottom of that exhale. Good, one more like that. Exhaling through the lips. Squeeze the belly at the bottom of the exhale. And let that next inhale rush in. All right, now for the entirety of the practice, we're gonna close the lips and just breathe with the lips closed in and out of the nose. So today I thought we'd get started with a little strengthener for the hips. And so I want you to find something that you can sit against. It could look like, you know, the end of a sofa, a piece of furniture, or the wall. I'm gonna use the wall. So right over here. And what you want to do is put the back of your pelvis and the shoulder blades both on the wall so that you can't cheat here. And we don't want to cheat because we actually want to gain the strength from this exercise. So I'm going to show it in 2 different variations, and one will suit you and the other one may not. So what we're going to start with is we're going to start pushing we're going to start sliding the block. We're going to take the leg, we're going to slide it out. And I want you to have a flexed foot, pick up the block and slide it in. And we're gonna go slow and try to go steady also. Slow and steady. We're gonna pick up the block and put it on the outside of the foot and slide. Pick it up, slide it in. Now, I want you to try this with me. And even if it doesn't work entirely, I want you to still try this with me, all right? So the power is in the trying. We're pushing this out and we're gonna go up and over. And because your shoulder blades and the back of your pelvis are against the wall, you're not gonna be able to use your abs or use your back like you normally would. You have to use your hip flexors and the very upper quadrant of your quadriceps. That's right, you got this. So even if you're not clearing the block, I want you to exhale and do a try, right? Because that's really what it's about. And one day your leg will just go up with ease. It'll be nice. Make sure you exhale as you lift. Last one on this side here. We're gonna switch this block over to that second side. And we're gonna start with the push, just pushing the block. One time, and pushing it back. I need to get off the edge of this mat, so if you're on edge with me, you might even just take it and roll it over to the side. Okay, where were we here? Now on the second side, it might have been that your shoulder blades or your hips kind of come away from the wall a little bit. Scooch on back, scooch on back. Keep breathing in and out of that nose. We're gonna do a few more of these, just like this. This is so good for the hip. And you know, you guys, I think you all know that I've had a lot of injuries on this hip. And so it took me a while on this side to be able to clear the block. Took me several months. So, but one thing I did was I just kept doing that try, like I'm asking you to, even if you can't clear the block, just lift any amount that you can. And one day it will just happen. Come on back. We're gonna release and relax out of that exercise. But keep the block in your hands. Come up to standing and just notice how you did that, smoothly or not so smoothly. Either way, it's all good. Just to notice and see how you transition from one position to another is a huge deal, actually. So we're gonna take this, we're gonna put it between the knees, and we're gonna come into a chair pose. So I want you to think about your weight shifting over the back of your heels. I'm gonna show this from the side so that you can see most of us keep the weight in the balls of the feet, and I want you to shift your weight to the heels and then come into your chair pose and keep your weight in those heels. Reach the arms out in front of you, or you can place them in prayer right in front of your chest. We're gonna hold and breathe here. And then when you lift up, I want you to think about your thighs, the very top part of your thigh bone, lifting up into the hip socket. So here we go, lifting up, weight in the heels. Yeah, it's gonna make certain muscles work because we have this block in place. So keep your chest lifted, shift your weight into your heels, come on down into your chair pose. Lifting up, bring those thighs up into the hip sockets. This is also going to help your knees. You know, if you have creaky knees, a lot of times we overuse our knee joint. Now we're gonna remove this block, and we're gonna take a yoga strap or whatever you have that's similar to this, and it might be like a long scarf or a long belt. And if you need to, hit pause and go grab those. Or that. But we're gonna make a loop. We're gonna make a loop about like that. And we're gonna crawl into it. That's right. So it should be, you'll probably have to cinch it or kind of retie it. What you wanna do is you wanna make it wide enough to where your hips or your feet are a little wider than hip distance, but that it's easy to keep the strap in place around the legs. And we're gonna come into chair pose again. So shift your weight into your heels. It's a huge thing when you start doing chair pose. You start using a whole lot more of the muscles you actually wanna use when you shift your weight into your heels. So shift the weight into the heels and then come down into your chair pose. Again, you can have your arms up if you wish, giving you a little bit more back bend. You can have them in front of your chest, a little easier. This is another place you could keep them. Keep your weight in the heels, hold and breathe. To make this harder, just get lower, right? And keep your weight in those heels. And then again, lift up, bring those thigh bones up into the hip sockets as you lift up. It's gonna give you more glutes. It's gonna be safer for your knees. Won't be so much compression in the joint. We want to preserve our knees because let's go into another chair pose. Because the knees rely so heavily on joint fluid that you don't have muscle in your knee joint like you do in your hip joint or your shoulder. Breathe. And then lift the thighs up, up, up into the hip sockets and relax. Take a nice long deep breath. And we're going to take off, unstrap the legs. Let's say. So, You can put on our chair poses, this time without the block or the strap. And what that had you do is it made you work your thigh muscles. And that's actually what we want to do. So I want you to just stand, shift your weight into your heels again. Yep. And then feel your quads turn on a little bit. Feel your quads start to rise up towards your hips, then come down into your chair pose, keeping your weight in the heels. Chest lifted, reaching your hips back. Keeping your weight in the heels. Relaxing to make this a little bit more challenging. If you want a bigger challenge, you can bend more, keeping your weight in the heels. And then as you stand, push your heels gently into the floor. It's not so much of a push, it's just let them drop into the floor. All right, take a breath. We're gonna do one more just like that. We're gonna add a little something to it. So shifting your weight into the heels, turning your thighs on, coming down into your chair pose. Breathing deep, keeping your weight in the heels and your chest lifted. Just take one leg, choose either one. We're gonna step it forward a couple of inches, maybe 3 inches, and hold. So now what you feel is the leg that's behind working a little harder. Go ahead and bring this foot back and then lift up here. Pull them up and breathe, take a breath. That's right, that's right. And then chair pose again. Here we go, turning your thighs on, shifting your weight into the heels. Come down into your chair pose, chest lifted. Breath long and smooth. This leg steps forward. Breathing, nice and smooth. To make it a little easier, don't squat down quite as far, but go through all these details. So they make a difference for your joint health. Let's take this foot, step it back, and then lift your thigh bones up into your hip sockets. Beautiful, drop your arms. Let's go into a wide leg forward fold. Stepping your feet out. Make sure that your knees don't collapse in when you come forward into your forward fold. They're gonna stay, your heels are gonna gently be pressing apart. Your weight is over your heels again, guess what? Always just shift your weight into your heels. Forward fold. Hold and breathe. And allow your spine to relax. Allow your spine to release and your head to get close to the floor. Keeping your weight in your heels, gently push your heels apart from each other. Just a little traction there. Cha-Cha's gonna help us out with this one. Take a nice deep breath. And then using the feet on the floor, against the floor, just kind of feel the weight of your feet drop down. And that's gonna help you lift up with a straight spine. We don't wanna roll through the spine, we just wanna lift up with a straight spine. That's right. All right, now, you can feel those legs, can't you? So we're gonna do one more thing in a standing position today. And then we're gonna give ourselves a nice little stretch at the end. So we're gonna come into a crescent lunge, and I want you to think about your feet, because a lot of times in crescent lunge, people like to stack the feet like they're balancing on one ski. But I want you to be on 2 skis here. And as you do this, I want you to keep that same motion. I want you to step back with me a few times. So turn your thigh muscles on, and don't let yourself come into this with a big kerplunk. I want you to just step gently into it so that, again, your joints don't bang, your joints don't compress, but your muscles are actually doing the work to get you into the position. And with this front leg, just take your thigh and imagine it pulling in towards the hip socket, just a little bit. And then allow your heel to drop down. This heel in the front, right heel. You've got your right leg in the front, right heel. And feel how your underbutt, this little, I'm gonna flip around so I can show you. This little piece right here, I want you to feel that connection, heel to this little piece, the very bottom tip of the gluteus maximus. We're gonna do something called the hobby horse. So we're gonna activate these muscles. So a hobby horse just lifts straight up and down, right? On the carousel, straight up and straight down. And you're gonna feel some strength in those muscles. You're welcome to lift the arms. That may help you keep the spine long here. One more. And then gently drop the fingertips to the floor and rest your right side ribs on your right thigh. Take a nice deep breath and step your back foot into a forward fold. Make sure your ribs touch your thighs here. Bend your knees more if you need to make that happen. And shift your weight into the heels. Take a nice deep breath in and a big breath out. Long, smooth. Good. On your next inhale, lift up with a straight spine. And then again, turn your thigh muscles on here on the left side. Step back with that right foot. Without that momentum, we're not gonna bang into the joints. We're not gonna compress the joints either. So we're gonna pull the upper thigh into the hip socket. Connect this little piece of your glutes, the underbutt, to your heel. And kind of feel that heel to underbutt connection. And I want you to, again, kind of come into this, step into it a few times so that you can really feel how that happens. Without momentum on both ways. And I want you to feel your muscles working here, because a lot of times what we do is we bypass the muscular activation and we use the joints to do some of these movements. And that over time might cause more joint pain. And joint pain is a lot more painful than sore muscles, trust me. You probably have experienced that yourself. So we're gonna hold here this time. Connect that heel to the underbutt. Reach the arms up, take a nice deep breath. And then again, you can have your arms up. You can have them on your hips. We're gonna do a little hobby horse, just going straight up and down. And feel that connection. When that heel pushes into the floor, you can really feel that underbutt light up. All right, one more. You might only need a few of these, especially at first. This is a little, maybe a new experience for you. Place the fingertips gently on the floor and step your back foot into a forward fold. Use these thigh muscles to pull up towards the hip socket as you step that foot forward. And that'll keep it out of your knees and out of your hip joint. Go ahead and bend your knees and come down into a nice little seated position. All right, so our next exercise, we're gonna do a little quad stretch because our quads deserve a nice little release here. So I want you to go up against maybe something like a wall or a sofa, something solid that you can just put a little bit of your body weight against or into. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a block. We're gonna pad the knee, because I want the knee really padded. If you don't have a block or if you're using something else, just make sure you don't have knee pain from your knee being on the floor. And what we're gonna do here is I want you to think about your knee dropping into the block. I'm gonna show you on this side so you can see a little bit better. Your knee drops into the block and it causes this opposite reaction of lifting, right? So I want you to make sure the back of your head is over the back of your hips. And I want you to start to think about what if you lifted your chest into a little bitty back bend and lean back a little bit. You can also do a little twist to the sides. So what that is gonna do is it's gonna release some of the tension that we created to build strength in those chair poses. And we wanna get both stretch and strength every time. We wanna get strength and we wanna get release. So just feel a little release here. You can even take an arm up and start to guide yourself backwards into almost like a half camel on a block. It's real nice and gentle, but it gives you a nice release. Let's switch to the other side, just careful as you go. And again, I've got the head stacked over the hip, which is already giving me a little bit of release down through the quads. Just make sure you check. Make sure you're in good alignment. And then you can start to take yourself back a little bit, lifting at the chest. You can imagine if somebody has a string up there, you're on a stage, you know how they have those strings that lift people up off the stage. Just imagine somebody pulling your heart up a little bit. And that's going to give you the kind of bend you want. It's not very big. It's not very aggressive. Again, when you want to create ease in your body, move with ease to create ease in your body. So just kind of keep that in mind. Next, we're going to lie down on our backs. And I'm going to turn my body this way so that you can see a little bit at a better angle. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this leg, we're going to cross it over in front of this shoulder. Then we're going to grab the outside of the ankle and pull it into a nice little 90-ish degree angle. But it's kind of going this way. So again, right knee is in front of that left shoulder. And then again, gently come out and switch to your other side. Left knee in front of that right shoulder, making a 90-ish degree angle here. And breathe. Make sure you flex your foot. It's going to keep your knee joint safe. Again, we're looking out for all of our joints all the time. So we want to flex that ankle. And relax, release. Stretch your body out long. Bring your shoulders away from your ears and flip your palms up towards the ceiling. Close your eyes for a moment and take a few deep breaths and just let your body relax. Remember that to create ease in the body, we also want to move with ease. And so while we are in strengthening mode, we also want to invite relaxation and release. It's always a pleasure practicing with you. If you have any questions, leave those in the comments. We'll get back to you shortly. Until the next time we see each other, take really good care.